have you pledged to Trench Crusade? That's the question of the day. That's the important one. I think that's the one that we can all agree is the most vital. Have you pledged to Trench Crusade? Because the Kickstarter is live. 12 days to go. It's only 48 hours in, and they've already raised it's gone up, £673,000, except it's not that, because it's nearly £674,000. That's pretty good. 4,900... This is going to be impossible to keep up with it, because it just keeps going. 4,906 backers in 2 days for a independent, like, tabletop war game, a skirmish game. This is insanely cool how much this has been embraced. I love it. I love how well this is doing. This is grand. I've already pledged a little bit. It might go up. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll see. Oh yeah, so they wanted 51,000, and they're currently on a hilarious amount of money. So the basis for this, the kind of foundation for this, is that in 1099, the Templars took the Holy City. Sealed deep within the catacombs beneath, they discovered a blasphemous artifact which tested their faith and found it wanting. Blinded by greed and with weakness in their hearts, they fell to their knees in supplication to a new blasphemous lord. Thus came the first heresy, and Jerusalem was reduced to a depraved pit where hell and our mortal world bleed into one. 8 centuries later, mortal soldiers go over the top as weapons of terrifying power hammer both friend and foe alike. Supernatural beings wade through the carnage, their divine flesh impervious to all but the most blessed ammunition. Even with such incalculable might, the armies are at a stalemate, and minor victories are snatched through daring raids and flank attacks. This is hell on earth. This is Trench Crusade. I really like the setting. It's very fun. So yeah, effectively, this all started because Mike Francina made some cool art and then decided to build a universe out of it, and then it's become its own miniature war game. And what I like is it is grimdark. There is a bit of silliness to it. I don't know whether they particularly would like it said that there's silliness to it, but I feel like there kind of is, but not necessarily in a bad way. There's silliness to 40k, right? It's the aesthetic. The aesthetic for me is quite a big thing. Plus, also, I grew up in a very religious household, and I had to go to church a lot. That sort of thing, and it was like traditional Roman Catholic style masses and so on. So for me personally, a kind of alternate history, fictional kind of take on that kind of aesthetic, that does it for me. That's pulling on lots of little kind of nostalgic elements from childhood, but making it like really gruesome, and it's kind of transforming a lot of stuff that I'm familiar with into fun and exciting new forms. So there's a lot of internal bias for me when it comes to Trench Crusade. It's not just that the art is brilliant, it's also that, you know, there's a familiarity there. So we've got the Trench Pilgrims, the Heretic Legion, New Antioch, which I've already got a few of their miniatures, and they're really cool. The Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, which are mental, the Sultanate of the Iron Wall, and the Black Grail. There is another faction which is the Church of Metamorphosis, I believe, but I don't believe they're in this Kickstarter, which is a shame. I would have liked to have seen that. They're providing miniatures through this Kickstarter. Once the Kickstarter's done, they'll be able to buy, you'll be able to buy miniatures from them via My Mini Factory, but at the same time, they want people to still kit bash, they still want people to convert. It's a miniatures agnostic game, but it does have its own set of miniatures that you can use. But if you don't want to use those, and you want to use alternatives, you can do that, which I like that as an attitude. They're not being precious about it. They want people to enjoy the game and enjoy the universe. They don't necessarily want people to feel like they're locked into only supporting Trench Crusade miniatures. No, you should be able to use the things that you want to use as long as the base size is correct. So yeah, I like that they're doing it that way. So they do a nice kind of breakdown of the game itself, how it works. But for me, a lot of it is the aesthetic, it's the miniatures, so we're going to take a look at those. The Sultanate of the Iron Wall. I don't want to pronounce half of this because I'm not going to be able to, but the Ubatsi Captain, the Jabarian Alchemist and Assassin, you got a Sapper, you got some Azebs, some Janissaries, a Brazen Bull, and Lion of Jabir. Jabir? Either way is fine. These are relatively recent. These are, I think, some of the more recent miniatures that they've done. I think some of the more recent artwork that Mike's done as well. I actually really like this lot. I like the Sultanate. They look very different to everything else in the setting. There's a lot more in the way of kind of regal grandeur going on with these miniatures than there is with, I mean, especially the Trench Pilgrims and the like, and the Mercenaries. They are very, very like stylistically different to anything else that you see in Trench Crusade, which is really fun. I like it a lot. Also, the Brazen Bull looks solid. With this lot, there's a bit of there's some interesting alchemy. There's kind of a bit of transformation body wise. A bit of like interesting magic and alchemy combinations going on. It's a fun faction. I do like the design of them. Then we also have New Antioch. And New Antioch looks solid. I can already tell you that the heavy mechanized infantry are great because I have them right here. And I really like them. They're really good. They look awesome. They've got some heft to them. Let me just see. Have I got a Space Marine around here? Yeah, I've got a Space Marine. If we're doing like side by side, that's sort of what you're looking at scale wise. They're chunky lads. I really like New Antioch. They look fantastic. But you've also got the Lieutenant, you've got the Trench Cleric, who looks really cool. The Sniper Priests, chef's kiss. Love that. A Sniper Priest? I mean, come on. That's just automatically cool. I don't care what you say. Then you've got Yeoman, Combat Engineer, and the Shock Troopers. And again, there's a really nice variety of weapons, of poses. And given that it's skirmish, like, that's the other thing as well. I have already seen people go like, oh, there's not that many like unique poses amongst the infantry. It's a skirmish-based game. As it gets bigger and you go through a campaign, you might end up having like 20 models on the table. Well, if you count right here, there's 9 there, there's 3 there, so a backup, so up to 12, and then that row up there takes it up to 17. When it comes to like, oh, well, there's not a huge amount of variety, I mean, you're not going to notice. It's a skirmish game. It's not a full army game like 40k or AOS. It's more akin to Kill Team or Necromunda. So yeah, I mean, these look fantastic. I absolutely love New Antioch. It's a really fun mix of styles. You've still got a bit of like the ragged approach that you see in some of the Trench Pilgrim stuff, but overall they're outfitted very well. There's more focus on like armor. I mean, the Shock Troopers as well look fantastic. I love the variety of weapons you got with those. Really cool. Really like them. Also got the Course of the Seven-Headed Serpent, which is what I'm gonna go for, I think, for the warband I've chosen. I mean, I say that, I know full well, I know already that I'm going to end up with more than one warband. I already know that. But the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, they have something that no one else does, and that is the Hell Knights. And the Hell Knights are perfect. They are perfect. I cannot get enough of the Hell Knights. They are so good. And since I've done the digital pledge, I can just print as many of these chunky lads. The guy with the gun, with the big old rifle, that guy, I'm going to print him like 18 times because it's perfect and I love it. And that's before you even get into like how creepy and awful the Praetor is. Like, there's something about the way that Mike Francina sculpts demons that I just really like. Because he just goes all out on, well, it's a demon, so obviously it needs to look incredibly weird. Why would it have normal wings or a normal head? Why should metal and flesh be different? Why can't it just all be one horrible, nightmarish mass? And I love that approach. I love it. The guy with the gun reminds me of that guy. Yes, there is a bit of a Hellgate London feel to it. I don't know if Mike did anything for Hellgate London, but like the Praetor looks solid. The Yoke Fiends are cool, but I mean the Hell Knights are my absolute favourite. But then you get things like the Desecrated Saint. I mean, that's just badass. You've got a bunch of Thuribles hanging off one side. It's the thing the smoke comes out of when you swing it from side to side. There's someone like interred in the... Like multiple people? Like interred in the middle of that? The Sorcerer with all the guts hanging out? Oh, yeah. I just can't get enough of them. I just think there's something really cool about the designs. The designs are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Then you got the Heretic Legion, which are mostly the kind of mortal sort of warriors of hell. Quite Krieg in a way. Some of them look really normal. Like the Heretic Troopers kind of look like World War One-ish, 2-ish kind of just infantrymen. But then you've got really weird stuff, like the Artillery Witch, which is a 10 out of 10. The Death Commando, again, absolutely solid. The Anointed look incredible. The fact that they've done the Chorister that well, the Chorister is brilliant because the blood vessels in the neck like create hell runes or whatever, and they've totally nailed it. They've totally nailed it with the model, which is awesome. Got the Heretic Priest, looks good. The Sin Eater, who looks horrible. And the War Wolf, which... I mean, if you put that down and you are not blasting the Beast of Jevadun by Powerwolf, then you're doing it wrong. Yeah, the Artillery Witch is great. The Artillery Witch is fantastic. They summon bombs out of the factories in hell directly into their hands and then throw them at people and then just summon another bomb. Like, that's the kind of nonsense that I'm just here for. If everything was that silly, it wouldn't be a good setting. But just a little thing here and there of, wow, what the hell is this? That's fine. That's perfect. You got to get the right amount of silly. It can't be all silly, but a little bit of silly here and there. I like a bit of silly here and there. The Anointed with the Heavy Flamer is incredible, and the Death Commando is super creepy as well. I mean, actually, the Heretic Legion, I really like the Heretic Legion a lot. They do look really, really good. There's a few specific sculpts in there that I just really want. Then again, as I say, this is all going to be available on Kickstarter after the fact. Not Kickstarter, on my mini factory after the fact. So, I mean, if there's a specific model, hopefully you'll be able to just buy that one model you want, you know? We also have the Black Grail, which is gross. Really gross. Really gross. So the Lord of Tumors looks horrendous. Just really gross. Top to bottom, really horrible. The Amalgam I really, really like. This is what the Obliterators should look like. The Amalgam is what the Obliterator should be. Alright? It should be a nightmare freak show. It should just be a bunch of horrible flesh with guns sticking out of it. The current Obliterator, it looks like just a Centurion suit with a bit of skin on it. No. It's all about the Amalgam. The Corpse Guard are cool, but not as cool as the Plague Knight. I really like the kind of faux sort of Witch Doctor, like Plague Doctor mask going on there. I really like that. That's very cool. The Herald of Beelzebub is basically incomprehensible, but then it should be. The Grail Hounds are really gross. The big old lump in the gut is just horrible. It's really horrible. And then you've got a bunch of misshapen freaks in the form of the Grail Thralls. It's very good. It's very good, but this is the problem. The Black Grail look fantastic. The Heretic Legion look fantastic. It's this is a lot of good choice. There's a lot of good choice. And then you get, the OGs, right? The Trench Pilgrims. The Trench Pilgrim is, I think one of the first things that he did, and one of the things that got, a load of attention. I'm not going to say these are, the basis for the entire thing. I don't know what order in which he drew stuff, but I feel like the Trench Pilgrim art is the stuff that got shared around a lot. And I know that there was, a large-scale Trench Pilgrim miniature that did super, super well. The fact that they're in this bundle makes me kind of I sort of want this because they're there, you know? I kind of want it because they're there. They're really cool. So yeah, we've also got the War Prophet, the Castigator, the Communicant is hilarious. Just a big cross. The big cross just nailed to the face is mental. Why? It's great. The Shrine Anchorite. Then we've got the Stigmatic Nuns, which I'm not too bothered about the Stigmatic Nuns. And then we've got the Ecclesiastic Prisoners, who they put basically artillery shells on the back of the guy. Then they send the guy running into the enemy, and then they blow up the bomb on his back. Penance. The Lord forgives you because you've exploded some heretics. You're going to die as well. But that's, that's neither here nor there. You'll be judged in your final moments, and if your final moments involved running into the enemy, then, that's alright. That's fine. Great concept. Great concept. Love that. Yeah, the communicant's just got a cross nailed to his face. Like, it's literally just nailed to his face. I believe the communicants are the ones that are fed with the flesh of the clones of Jesus. So for the mercenaries, we've got things like the Witchburner General. I've already got one of them. And the communicant tank hunters, which look insanely cool. The Observer is fantastic. The Observers are great, right? The Observers, they have got, they can hear the voice of God, but they can hear everything that God is saying at all times, past, present, and future, and they have to filter out the bits that let them kind of predict what's going to happen a few seconds before it does, which makes them absolute beasts on the battlefield, unless they get distracted, at which point they're shit out of luck. The Observer is incredible. Love the Observer. Got the Combat Medic, the Mentalist Ammo Monk. I want loads of communicant tank hunters. I just want a whole army of them. I don't think you can have a whole army of them, but that's what I want. This is the thing. It's a very cool setting. It's a very cool setting. I think they've done a great job with it. It's clearly capturing the imagination, right? It's clearly capturing the imagination. I mean, whilst we've been talking about it, it's gained another, 30 backers or something? The people know what they want, and what they want is mad Christian alternate history never-ending war. That's what they want.